So what we're looking at is the Lavastorm Resolution Center, which is the main investigation layer of the Lavastorm products. So here you have alarms. You can view and query and investigate cases, query opportunities, reports, explorers with folders where different users can add favorite reports and queries, and you can also explore any other item inside the tool. And we're going to be looking at a specific item today, which has to do with a telecom fraud, which is called SIM-boxing. So if we start, these are my case rows, which is grouped by a suspect or a suspect type. In this case, it's a telephone number, and it's derived that from something called a subscriber number. If I click on the bell, I can actually see the actual alarm that triggered the case to be automatically created. And here I can see the details of that alarm. And this number doesn't give me all the details. That's why I'm going to open up the case and start my investigation. In this phase of the investigation, I have a clear workflow that I can use to guide me through my investigation. I can right-click on any field that you're seeing here and get options to do queries or run reports. And these are queries or reports which are actually diving into not this data source, but any data source in the solution itself. So what I'm going to start with is just run a query. I could right-click on the subscriber number, and I get options to run multiple different queries. So what I want to do is I want to get some more details about this specific subscriber number. And now I can look through this and find any weird patterns. What I want to do here is I want to look at this equipment ID. So if I right-click again and say run a query, then it gives me queries available for the equipment ID. So here we have detailed data from another data source. So what I'm going to start with is just pull the two queries I'm doing and then look for interesting patterns in between these two different queries. And I can do that with up to 3 different items. So I don't have to have a specific view or order in which direction I want to go. And that is unique. Now I want to look further on the subscriber number. And instead of running a query, I actually want to run a report. And sometimes the report is in a graphical sharding view, gives you a different view than just a table with lines in it. And it's because, in this case, I'm overlooking a day's worth of usage by hour by this specific telephone number. So I can look at spikes in the data and see if that's interesting. So if you go back again, so I'm going to just say, right-click on that and say, add this to a hot list. And it gives me options, which hot list do I want to use. And that hot list is then rerouted into an alarm function, which alarms if this handset is ever used again. And then I can shut it down immediately. So in this case, I can put it in one of these hot lists. Second thing I want to do, I want to look at something which is really interesting, which is the location of where these calls were made. So I'm going to right-click on this first cell and do another report, which is a profile report based on the cell. And these reports are templates you can hook up different types of queries into. So you create one template and it can be reused. So here I see this specific location and the amount of calls that's gone up and down or has been generated through that location over a 24-hour period. And as this particular behavior pattern actually happened in this cell, makes me want to add this cell to a specific hot list as well. I can continue my analysis on running query on the cell as well if I want to, which gives me basically the data for what we were looking at in the report previously. So now I've put different things in my hot list and I've run queries, and this is queries on multiple data sources, and I'm doing it on the fly, and that is very unique. So if I go back, all the cases in this folder underneath here is actually based on the hot list that I just created. So now I can look at that. It's looking at the ratio between the outgoing calls and the amount of distinct telephone numbers that has been dialed. So the hot list made the alarm to be triggered, and now I can view that, and I can do the same type of querying I did with the others, or I can link those two together in one specific case. And that's real power.